my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day.
What is going on, people? Welcome back to MIA, Miami in Action. My name is Cliff, and today's episode, we're talking to my Fins fans out there. We're going to be going over that offseason acquisition so far, and then we're also going to be predicting the 2022 NFL season and just going over the teams that we're going to be playing, and we'll talk a little bit, and we're going to dive right into it. But first and foremost, I do want to acknowledge some of my socials. If you want, go check them out. Drop a follow, drop a sub, all that good stuff. It's greatly appreciated. First and foremost, we're going to be talking about Miami in Action, our YouTube channel. We got 6 subscribers, which I greatly appreciate. Everybody coming by and showing love, showing some comments. The next thing we're going to be talking about is our Miami in Action Twitter, which is Miami 1N Action all together. So I appreciate all the follows on Twitter. And then also Instagram miami.in.action. You can go give me a follow there. It'd be greatly appreciated. You can kind of stay up to date with all the videos we got going on. But yeah, let's kind of dive into it, right? So talking Dolphins today on this channel, just so everybody knows, like, we're going to be talking about Dolphins, we're going to be talking about Heat, we're going to be talking about the Panthers, and we'll dabble a little bit into the Miami Marlins as well too. But so far that's what we're about here. You know, we're here to educate, we're here to grow, we're here to have great conversations and ultimately get engagement from you people and have these conversations. These are fun and exciting for me. So first and foremost, let's talk about a little bit about the acquisitions. Number one, right off the rip, right, we have the signing of tackle Tyron Armstead. Big acquisition for the Dolphins, right? That's something that we've been kind of just really lacking. Never really had any solid, line in a very long time. I've always been a big believer in, I think the line would have helped us in a lot of seasons with a stronger line, and obviously that's not easy to do, but you can definitely tell that the Dolphins are starting to slowly prioritize the line a little bit better, especially where they feel like they have pieces in the right places. Big topic, of course, is the Tua, right? Quarterback position, obviously wide receiver, running back, and that line has always been a weak link. I'm a huge personal believer in that. I think, a person like a Ryan Tannehill would have played that much better if we had a solid line. Most sacks, generally one of the top sack teams per season. And having that solidarity in the line can definitely make a huge difference. So Armstead, coming over from the Saints, I think is a big acquisition there. I think that's somebody who not only is going to solidify the tackle position, but more importantly, like, teach these younger cats how to play offensive line. You got to look at this as more of a mentorship as well as a performance. So really excited to see what we can do this season with him playing in the tackle position and ultimately, hopefully, teaching these young cats how to play line, man. I mean, honestly. Next thing is signing Xavier Howard to a contract extension. That's something that's obviously a huge game changer for the Dolphins. He's definitely somebody who, is a lockdown corner. And in a league of a very passing, heavy offensive league, you need those lockdown corners. You need them, which is why he's getting paid the big bucks now. So huge signing there. The next one is definitely the biggest in quite some time. That is going to be the trade for Tyreek Hill and the big signed contract for him. I mean, it's the cheetah. What can you say? This guy, He's the fastest guy in the league, most people say. Obviously, he has that championship pedigree coming over from Kansas City, playing with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the proof is in the pudding with that guy, man. And so far, we've seen a lot of excitement from him, a lot of staying late, coming in early, off-season trainings and stuff with Tua and all that other stuff. So super, super excited to see what he brings to the team. Once again, somebody who has that championship pedigree and can kind of be a mentor for the Dolphins for sure, 100%. Signing quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. Now, this is obviously an interesting signing here. A lot of people are saying that, with the probability of Tua getting hurt, having a solid backup here at the Dolphins is definitely something that they were looking for. A little bit surprised with the Teddy Bridgewater signing, only because he's definitely been a starter the last couple years. And I do remember him kind of signing with the Dolphins pretty early in the offseason. So I'm curious to kind of understand what was kind of said behind closed doors, right? Like, hey, listen, if Tua goes down, like, this is your team, or, not a matter of if, but a matter of when Tua goes down, Teddy Bridgewater takes over. Really kind of curious to see, or to eventually hear maybe what was kind of said behind closed doors and the reason for the early signing of Teddy Bridgewater. And if you're on YouTube or on social media, drop some comments. Like, what do you think the whole idea behind the Teddy Bridgewater signing is? I'm really kind of curious to see, because it definitely, definitely something where I feel like Teddy Bridgewater probably could have found a starting gig or waited around a little bit longer in the offseason to find a starting gig. But ultimately, really pleased with the backup. Definitely a solid backup. South Florida boy for sure. So obviously, excited to probably play for the Dolphins. I don't know who his home team was or who his favorite was, but I'm sure the Dolphins are in the mix somewhere in there. Obviously, Mike Gesicki, the tight end for the Dolphins, taking that extension there. Obviously very excited for that. I think that Mike Gesicki is a huge, huge asset to the Dolphins, honestly. I mean, when this man got drafted, he had Calvin Johnson numbers. Vertical, 40-yard dash, played basketball when he played for Penn State. I think this guy is very underrated and I think very underutilized. And I'm really, really curious to see what Mike McDaniel, kind of does with Mike Gesicki, because I think this is a Kittle type situation here where I think he could really, really shine this offseason and ultimately potentially get a big bag come next year for sure. Signing defensive end Melvin Ingram, obviously, a veteran with Pro Bowls on his resume. Really, really kind of excited to see what type of rush defense he brings. Obviously, coming over from the Chiefs, so really, really excited to see what addition to that is. Let's see here. Running back Sony Michel. Always been a kind of a really big fan of him. Kind of a workhorse running back. And this Dolphins team, the one thing I definitely notice is, man, we have a running back by committee. It is insane how many solid running backs we have. And, when I think about how many running backs we have, I'm thinking about kind of a new page when it comes to the NFL. Being able to hand the ball off, 8 to 10 touches per person, keeping it fresh, keeping it rotating, having very situational running backs. This could be definitely a little niche thing that Mike McDaniel might be kind of diving into here with the signings of these players. Chase Edmonds, right, another running back coming over from the Cardinals. Really excited to see what he'll bring. Definitely have that pass catching ability. Let's see here. And then Mostert coming over from the 49ers. Obviously, Mike McDaniel's coming over from the 49ers as well. Super, super fast running back. A little bit of a workhorse as well. But very curious to see this, four-person back or 3 to 4 person backfield. Really, really excited to kind of see what that brings. Like I said, I think I see a lot of touches coming their way. Let's see what else here. Christian Wilkins exercising his fifth-year option, obviously a dominant player. Nothing really else needs to be said about that. Restructuring contract for Byron Jones. I definitely think that he had a little bit of an off year last year, in my opinion. Definitely not the year he had when he was playing for the Cowboys, but ultimately kind of taking that restructure, helping with the money around the team, and ultimately hopefully making the team better. Let's see here. Signing Cedric Wilson, huge pickup. I think that's a very underrated pickup. Coming from the Cowboys. I think this is somebody who is going to play a large role. When you're covering a Waddle and when you're covering a Tyreek Hill, who else are you going to get the ball to? So I think this person could definitely be a huge, huge asset this year for the Dolphins. We obviously have trading Devontae Parker to the New England Patriots. I'll be honest with you, I've always been a huge Devontae Parker fan. The one downside to him, of course, was that injury-prone situation, and very unfortunate, but I definitely think he was underutilized. And to be real with you, I think he's going to be very huge on the Patriots. I really do. I mean, that man can go up and grab any ball. Kind of a deep ball threat. I thought we saw glimpses last year of Devontae Parker, and good for him, because I've always thought he's been kind of a top tier wide receiver as long as he stays out of the injury column there. And obviously a couple of little signings here and there. Obviously, nothing really too crazy. Releasing some people, Jesse Davis and Allen Hurns, and just kind of some little behind the scenes people. But ultimately, I feel like so far, barring any other situations, we had a good offseason. Obviously, we didn't really play too much of a part in the draft, but ultimately a very well offseason. So I wanted to go ahead and kind of throw it over to the schedule this year. Let's talk about 2021 teams and where we kind of think the wins and losses will be. I've seen some articles about us going 8-8 and 1, going 8-9, somewhere around that middle of the pack record. So let's kind of break this schedule down, and let's kind of see what we're thinking when it comes to the 2022-2023 Dolphins NFL schedule. So first and foremost, we got the New England Patriots at home. Last year they went 10-7. So for this game, first game right off the rip, for some reason we always end up playing the freaking Patriots first, which is always very interesting. Last year, I mean, obviously, they had a great season last year. Definitely a much better season than I think most people thought. And Mac Jones, Mac Jones is the real deal. I'll be honest with you. Mac Jones is the real deal. That was kind of a match made in heaven in the Belichick's system. Last year went 10-7. So with the New England Patriots, we always get one. And I think on this one, I'm gonna say this is a W right here. I think we get this one here at home. I think we're fired up. Teams haven't figured us out yet. Obviously, the additions are big time. I think we take the W on that and go 1-0 in the beginning of the season. And like I said, I think just the unpredictability, feeling each other out. It's in our building. I know Dolphins fans are going to be excited based on the offseason, so it's the team, the crowd's going to be loud. So I think we take the W on the first one, for sure. Next, we got the Baltimore Ravens at Baltimore. Last year, Baltimore went 8-9. Definitely a slight disappointing season there. I think Lamar Jackson, didn't play his best football. Obviously didn't have a lot of, eccentric pieces around the Ravens and around the wide receiver core. This is a tough game here at Baltimore. Baltimore always plays us very well. I remember a couple years back going to the season opener for Baltimore, and we got absolutely crushed. My gut feeling on this one is I think we're going to take a loss on this just because it's in Baltimore. That's always a tough game. Earlier in the year, still trying to figure out, each team will be still trying to figure each other out. But I do think we take a loss just because of the fact that we're not at home on this one. And I do think the Ravens kind of take a step up in the league this year. I think Lamar feels pretty pissed off about the season he had last year. So I think a loss on this one for sure. Excuse me. The next one is going to be the Buffalo Bills at home. Now, very interesting about this game. At this point in the season, I feel like we're trying to hopefully figure out our identity, figure out what type of team we're gonna be, and ultimately, the way the Bills played last season, kind of keeping that same team intact, I feel like we're going to be very, very much improved. My gut is saying that we're going to take a loss on this one, a slight loss. Like I'm thinking like a 30-32 score loss, or a 27-31 loss, something where it's like within a field goal or within 4 points. That's where I kind of think this is, but I think it might be kind of high scoring. I think this would be a high scoring game where not a lot of defense on that. So I do think right now we're sitting 1-2 right now, 1-2 on the season. So I think the loss is happening. Next team, Cincinnati Bengals at Cincinnati. Now something to note as well is this is a Thursday night game. And this is the team that went 10-7 last year and lost to the Rams in the Super Bowl. Cincinnati, I think is going to be underrated again this year. To be honest with you, they were a sleeper team in the playoffs. I was very, very surprised, and I think that the Chase and Burrow combination is only going to get stronger. I don't know, man. Thursday night games. I think this is a tough game for us. I think we've always kind of struggled with these night games. So I'm actually going to say I think we actually take a loss on this one. To be honest with you, unfortunately, I think Cincinnati's only improving. I think we're improving as well, but I think Cincinnati is kind of really improved, even on top of their Super Bowl loss, and I think they come out, guns blazing for sure. So right now we're looking at a 1-3 record. So kind of starting off the first 4 games 1-3, so the first quarter of the season. But I think it gets better from here. Next team at New York. Obviously, my opinion, man. New York needs some help. New York needs some help. I think they made some good draft choices, but ultimately, I think next year they're still in pretty rough shape, to be honest with you. So I'm going to say this is definitely a dub. I think I saw a stat about us, beating New York quite a bit of times the last 4 seasons or something like that. I forgot our records the last couple seasons, but I think we've only given up 1 loss to the Jets in the last 4 years. So I'm going to say easy dub on that one there. Still earlier in the season, so it's not super cold. So I like our chances in that game there. Excuse me. The next one is going to be Minnesota at home. Minnesota, I know, has a new coach this season. I'm really kind of curious. This to me right now, just kind of off the head, I think this is a toss-up game, but I ultimately think we get the dub on this, especially being at home. I just think we're faster. I think Dalvin Cook is going to be an issue, but if we're really going to be a playoff contending team, we shut down Dalvin Cook. So I find it to be very. If we're gonna be that team that all of us Dolphin fans think they're gonna be, we're gonna win a game like that, especially at home, and take care of business. So I'm gonna go with a W on that. So on the year, we're looking at 3-3. So we're even on the year, going into the next game. The next game we're looking at is gonna be Pittsburgh Steelers at home. This is a Sunday night game, as I noted here. Last year, the Pittsburgh Steelers were 9-7. Pretty impressive year considering all the woes. But ultimately, Ben Roethlisberger retiring last season, obviously a huge loss to the team, even with his slight injury prone the last couple seasons. I think we get the W on this one here. This is at home. I think we start rolling right, get the win from New York, get the win from the Vikings, and ultimately I think we get the win against the Steelers with a brand new quarterback. So very, very curious to see on that, how that game goes. But obviously excited for a Sunday night game, as I believe that's the last night, any sort of primetime game we get the rest of the season, unfortunately, even with the acquired offseason stuff. So next right here is going to be at Detroit Lions. Last year they went 3-13. Obviously Detroit's been abysmal, to put it, lightly. Nothing really there. Jared Goff on that team, I haven't really seen much kind of go on there. I'm very hopeful for them. I feel for them, man. They've had a kind of a losing culture for quite a while. But even at the Lions, I do think we take the W on that one there. It's Detroit at the end of the day. If we're going to be the team, like I said, and you're going to hear this a lot in this episode, but if we're going to be that team that we think we are, Dolphin fans, we're going to easily win those games, and we're not going to lose those games like we lost to, what was that, Jacksonville last year in London. We should have beat that. We should have beat that team, and most real fans know that if you can't win those simple games, forget it. So I think we take the W on that. That puts us at what, 4? Let's see, 3, 4. That's 5-3 on the season. So far looking good. The next game is gonna be at Chicago. Chicago last year going 6-11. Chicago last year, man, they were they couldn't figure themselves out. Pretty disappointing season for sure. At Chicago, though, man, I have a sneaky feeling, to be honest with you. I think this is one of those weird losses that we take. To be honest with you, I think this is a weird one for us, and ultimately, man, I feel like we sneak ones in with them, and I feel like we lose weird ones with them. So I don't know why. I just think we're gonna have a loss on this. I think Chicago will be slightly improved, but I think they still got a lot to work on for sure. Unless Justin Fields pops out of nowhere and really starts to play how they hope so. But I still think we just randomly take a loss on this. Next team, Cleveland Browns. So this one is a very interesting one here. Cleveland Browns last season went 8-9. Obviously, they picked up Watson this offseason. We won't get into all that stuff, but who knows if that man's going to play? Who knows if that man's going to play? Who knows if Baker Mayfield's coming back? I'm going to say this is a win, especially at home. If Watson does not play. So W if Watson doesn't play. If Watson plays, I think this is an L. I think this is a loss. So I'm just going to say he's not playing this year. I'm going to say that's a W right there. Houston Texans, kind of right up there with the Detroit Lions there. I don't really see kind of much going on with them. I hope the best for them. I feel for them. Last year they went 4-13 as well, same record as Detroit. That is at home for us. I think we're going to be really strong at home this year, so I think we take the W on that one. At San Francisco 49ers, man, this little stretch right here is going to be pretty crazy for us. Mike McDaniel's going back to the team that he coached with. 49ers 10-7. What are they doing with quarterback? What are they doing with the wide receiver? Obviously, they still got George Kittle. They still got a lot of their core of the team. But Mike McDaniel's is a huge loss for them. I think a huge gain for us. Man. I think my gut feeling is I think this is a W. I think we understand this team. I think we understand our identity at this point. I think Mike McDaniels goes in there and handles business out on the West Coast. So that's going to be a crazy game for sure. Definitely a lot of emotions flying. Obviously, at that point, we really understand our team, really understand our identity. And hopefully, I think that McDaniel can go back there and solidify a win against his previous team and really kind of step up as a coach. I think this is a turning point for the team right here. Whether we're in the middle of the pack or whether we're really rolling, I think this game is a huge turning point. So the next game at Los Angeles. So they're in San Francisco, and then the next week at Los Angeles. So my gut feeling, and I have to look this up, or if anybody can let me know, I'm pretty sure the Dolphins stay out on the West Coast this time around. I believe that there's no bye week that week, so I think the Dolphins end up staying out there on the West Coast and playing the next game in Los Angeles, playing the Chargers. Man, the Chargers, they picked up, well, who is that? Khalil Mack, huge pickup. I think Herbert takes a huge step. I think this team's solid, and unfortunately, I think also because of that back-to-back, and we stay out there. We don't come home. We don't see the family. We're staying in the hotels. We're practicing on a field that isn't ours. I think we take the loss on this for sure. I just got that gut feeling about this game. So I think we take the loss on that. Chargers being 9-8 last year, but like I said, with the acquisitions, I think we stay out there for the weekend or for the week. But yeah, I think we just take the loss on that. So right now we're at, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses. So we'd be 8-5 at this point in the season. The next game at the Buffalo Bills. At Buffalo later in the season. I believe this is a beginning of December game. Once again, Buffalo Bills going 11-6 last season, obviously making it to the divisional round and losing to the Chiefs in overtime. At Buffalo, unless we are just a very dominant team, I think we lose this game. I mean, there's nothing more than that. Buffalo in Buffalo, that team leaning towards the wintertime. That's a rough game for us. That is a rough game for us. That's pretty much all to be said about that. The next game, Green Bay Packers on Christmas Day at home. I think this is a really, really cool game. I personally am very interested to possibly go to this game. I got a lot of buddies who are Packers fans. Shout out to my boy Marcus, being a huge Packers fan. Packers on Christmas Day. I think Packers take a step back here. I really do. Devontae Adams is a huge loss for the Packers. I think that we actually take the win on this on Christmas. I think we do take the win on this game. I think it's just a really fun day. Crowds out there celebrating Christmas. Like I said, I think they take a step back. I think we take a step up, and ultimately I think we get the win right there. The next one is going to be at New England Patriots. This is going to be a tough game. Late in the season, it's cold. Once again, Patriots were 10-7 last season, but it's in Foxborough at Gillette Stadium. This is going to be a tough one here, but I ultimately think this is the one they get on us. I think we get the one at home, and I think they get the one here. Let me refresh my memory. Did we say a W on the first one? Yes, we did. So at New England, once again, in the wintertime, heart of winter. I believe this is right around New Year's. I think we take a loss on this one for sure. And then finally finishing up the season with the New York Jets coming to visit the Dolphins in Miami at the Dolphin Stadium. I think we take the Jets both visits, both games this season. So once again going 2-0 against the Jets. Once again Jets going 4-13 last season. I hope that they make an upgrade, and I think they'll do a little better. But ultimately, I think no matter what, I think we take the dub on that one there, and kind of finishing off the season strong, hopefully going in the playoffs. So let's see what our final record is here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wins. So we got 10 wins right there. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 losses. So I think for the 2022-2023 season, we are going to ultimately go 10-7 next season. And I think it's going to be enough to make a playoff spot for sure. I see us going second to Buffalo. Probably a wild card if I had to guess. I think Buffalo's probably going to win the division. I think we go 10-7. I think the Patriots are like a 9-8 or 10-7 team. And I think the Jets, if I had to predict, are going to be like a 6-11. 6-11, maybe 7-10 team if they make that much of an upgrade. But I see them taking fourth in the division. So if you're on YouTube, let me know in the comments what you think our record's going to be this year. And also let me know what you think about the Teddy Bridgewater transaction. And let me know what you think about the overall offseason. What do you think was the best pickup? What do you think is the most underrated pickup? And don't forget, like I said, to follow me on socials here. Miami in Action on YouTube. We got Miami in Action on Twitter. Miami in Action on Instagram. And also, too, if you're not listening to this, we are on Apple as well on the podcast finally. We finally got that up and running. So greatly appreciate any support over there. Drop a follow. Give us a listen. And yeah, that's going to do it for me on this episode here. I appreciate you all tuning in. If you got to this point, you're the real ones. You guys know and girls know who you are. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Appreciate you all. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Stay blessed. And we'll see you then. Take it easy.